Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. This session is Debt to Deadlines, and my name is Aima Atigari, and I am a community manager for Remote Base. This for this fireside chat, we also have Bruce Lucas. Bruce Lucas is a tech solutions architect that focuses on mentoring people to build tech solutions or a tech in career. Welcome, Bruce.
Hello, everyone. Hi, nice to have me here.
Yeah, okay. Straight to the topic of the day, debt to deadlines. I would start by asking um, who should actually set deadlines for a software development project?
So that's set deadlines for software development project is a little bit different from setting deadlines in other regular projects, and that's because you will need to have some level of experience, understanding what you need the developers to do, what you need the designers to do, and what your estimation should be that it will take them to get those things done. So if you have no idea what they do on the job, setting a deadline could be disastrous for an organization doing that. For example, say you get a software developer, you get a project manager, a trained, certified project manager that has done PME certification or Prince 2 certification. This guy is a great project manager, but does not understand what a designer does during the UI design process. He does not understand what the developer does back and front end in actually carrying out, let's say, just authentication phases in building a project. And so what would happen is he would work with that deadline and divide the project into phases just to meet up that deadline. So somebody that has a significant amount of experience working with developers, designers, and teams as such should be the best person to set lines, as it were.
Okay, pretty cool. The next question I'll ask is do you have to be an experienced developer in order to set deadlines for software projects? Like, what is the skill set that is required for, you know, one to be able to set efficient deadlines for this project?
Yeah, so like I said, having a little bit of experience in what team does would help set deadlines. Though the term deadline is relative, but I'm guessing we'll do that because of this and the depth of deadline. But having a little bit of experience, not experience, to what the teams do help you this deadline. It shouldn't be for anybody that's not experienced enough what to do because one more time and they can tell you, oh, I need 1 week. I need you not experience into for payment or for uh, a sale, then we will 1 week, 2 weeks.
Hello. Yeah. So I know one of I've worked on a couple of software projects where I've had to manage those projects myself, and one of the things I find is sometimes there's a challenge in meeting up, you know, with the deadlines, right? And sometimes it's just like a royal rumble, trying to ensure that the products are delivered at the time they should be delivered. And even managing these developers could be a challenge, right? I would ask, what's the best way to handle deadlines with developers while still maintaining the quality of products that are expected to be delivered? Hi, Bruce.
Hello. Yeah, hi. I think I lost you for a sec. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the question I was asking was, you know, what's good, because developers are, software projects are very, very unique, right? And in delivering on products, sometimes there are unexpected challenges, right? The clients could come and, just make a u-turn on what they expect, their expectations, right? So the question will be, what is the best way to handle deadlines with developers while still maintaining the expected quality of the products that are to be delivered?
Okay, so in maintaining the quality of the project while also working on the timeline of the project, it's it's a bit dicey. So there's this project triangle where we have three main factors in measuring your project: the time, the cost, and the quality of the project. So balancing between the time it takes you to do it, the cost, and the quality of the project would make a very good project manager in that context. However, when it comes to software related projects, what I do is to focus on one of these criteria. If you want to focus on delivering a quality project, then you have to be flexible a little about time that it takes to deliver that project. If you want to be focused on the cost it will take you to deliver that project, then you have to be flexible a little about the time that it takes to deliver that project. So the quality of the project may be affected a little, but the cost would not change. So if you want to focus on the time it takes you to deliver the project, says this project must be finished in 1 month, then you should be ready to compromise a little in the quality and compromise a little in the cost. So these three factors are factors that you should take strongly into consideration. Which would be your priority on this particular project? So the project might be a large project, it might be a simple project, but what comes first for you should be the most important things of these three things. So if we're looking at the quality of the project, then be ready to add a little more money to achieve that quality. Be ready to have a little flexible timing to achieve that quality. And so one would either go for each other. If there's more time, it might get you to spend more, so more cost. But choose which is most important to you on the project, and then be ready to give a little compromise, not a lot, but a little compromise on the other two factors.
Okay, so there's a leading question from this what she just said, and that would be, yeah. So who determines what factors should be focused on? Is it the project manager? Is it the project owner? Right? Who determines that? Because I mean, the project owner would definitely want, and I find sometimes that project owners don't really know the complexities. Sometimes don't really know the complexities around building software projects. So they just want a project and they want it at the time they want it, right? So who's in the position to determine what factors to focus on, right? In terms of time, in terms of quality, in terms of cost, and in terms of delivery. So who should focus on those? Who should get the exact factor to focus on? Is it the project manager or the project owner?
Okay, I think I would refer that to the project owner, but sometimes the project manager has to educate the project owner enough to guide him on what should be important, right? Because
Yeah.
sometimes the project owner sees only the end goal and does not get to tell all the processes that goes between now and between the beginning and the end goal, right? And then the project manager would have to say, yes, this is the end goal you're trying to achieve, but I think this is what is most important in achieving that end goal. The time is most important in achieving that end goal, or the cost is most important, or the quality is most important. And then the project manager advising the project owner on what is most important will be the critical factor to making the decision. But ultimately, the decision will be made by the project owner, because the project owner might have a crisis at hand and say, if I can't deliver this by the 31st of December this year, I'm in big trouble. I will lose a lot of money, or
Yes.
something catastrophic may happen. And so whatever the project manager advises him would not make sense because the ultimate goal is time based, right? But it's a conversation the project manager would have with the project owner in order to lead the project through the right direction.
Oh, fine, fantastic, awesome. Yeah, so I mean, I've worked with a couple of software projects with you, and the team at Olotu Square just before I, transitioned into remote base as a community manager there. And I remember, in fact, one project that we worked on that took a lot of time, and the client kept changing and changing. So I would like to ask you specifically, what is it like working on software projects at Olotu Square, and how have you handled delivery of projects on time?
Okay, first things first, it's not a proud thing to say, but I can't remember any project that the Lotus Square have delivered on time because on time is
Yeah.
relative, right? On time is relative. So you develop a project right now and you're done and you assume you've developed on time. The next thing that happens is the client walks in for the final testing phase so you can go live. And a simple conversation, just a sentence, converts the whole thing to need more time or to make a certain change. It might not be a big change, but a certain change that would extend the project timeline. Something else that happens is the client's availability for us to be able to deliver on time as it is. For example, you have done the UI design and there's a particular input you need from this client. And the client is saying, I'm not available for a meeting today. I'm available for a meeting tomorrow. And then it stalls progress in certain areas of delivering a particular sprint on time because you need the input of the client to get that done. So time factor has always been a problem, not only for the team developing or the project manager, but it can also that factor might also come in from the project owner that needs to make an input before that is done. So time has always been a problem with delivering projects, especially software projects. It has always been a problem. But in delivering projects in Lotus Square, after learning over a very long time what it means to deliver a successful project, I came up with a framework called the PROD. I just called it a PROD, a product requirement document that kind of highlights every expectation within timeline from start to finish in clear English terms, right? In clear, using user stories anyway, in clear English terms. So when I say clear English terms, there is no database in a PROD. There is no UI UX. There is no technical terms. What is expected is just a story. A user is able to log in. That's all. Whether it sends it to the database, whether the login is done from an API, whether it's done using a third-party tool, whatever the case is, no grammar, no technical grammar in the PROD, just simple English. So the simple English means that the project manager understands it, the designers understands it, the product owner understands it, any other person that is involved in the project understand what needs to be done. Then you can break down in your agile tool, whatever agile tool the team is using, you can break down the specifics of what is expected for the designer to do, what is expected for the front end developer to do, the back end developer to do, the database engineer to do, whatever the team technically needs to know. It's now broken down in whatever agile tool we're using for the project management. But at the top level, the user story is simple enough and then helps us to describe what would happen after the first sprint. And so the sprint guides the delivery and the time of delivery. So the sprint, if it's a 2 week sprint, it's saying in these 2 weeks, this and this and this will be done. The technicalities are discussed at the back end. So that has helped us really look at projects in a different way and help us also communicate a project deliverable and progress with the clients more efficiently because he has a sample, he has a copy of this PROD, and what he sees on the PROD is in clear English that he can follow through with.
Awesome, awesome. So we have a question, right, from Mohammed Harris. But before we go to the question, there's something I would like to ask. You know, there are different, like teams that work on software projects, but taking a
Yeah.
focus on the developers, right? I know sometimes, with the whole back and forth, especially trying to meet those deadlines, right? Sometimes they get fatigued, right? So how do we keep developers motivated, right, to go on the projects that they are working on to ensure that they also maintain the standard, the quality required for the project? Just briefly, because I think we have 4 minutes left, so we take the question from the audience as well.
Okay, so it starts. If you're looking at quality, quality starts from recruiting quality developers. That's where it really starts from.
Yeah.
Extending the deadline till next year would not change the fact that it might churn out bad codes, right? If it's not a quality developer. So quality starts from hiring quality developers. Then the next thing is sprints. I think sprints are the best way to manage project deliverables rather than deadlines, because in a sprint, um, Mr. A software developer, front end developer is required to do XYZ in this sprint, and the sprint is for 1 week. That guy might end up doing it in 3 days because he has more time or he's willing to work day and night to get this done. So that question of fatigue would be something that would come up very scarcely, because he would manage his time to finish everything he needs to do on this sprint on time, and then start discussing with the project manager on what should be done next or what he would do to support his team members and so on. So even if he cannot work for a day or two, he knows what he has to do in the remaining days he has till the end of the sprint. So that gives them time to also do some documentation reading, do some documentation of their codes, and also read some about some new technologies or things they can apply to create a better quality to the codes they are churning out. So that would
Awesome.
be a better approach for me.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, awesome. So let's go to the questions that we have from our audience. The first one is, I have had a lot of difficulty in deciding the right deadline and cost for my freelance projects in the past. So is there any kind of structure or key that can be followed? This is one question, and we have another question, and we have like less than 2 minutes to round this up. So, yeah.
So if you're a freelancer and you have issues setting deadlines, what I'm not sure now is if the deadline is set by the client or the deadline is set by you. But if it's set by you, then I think you would have more chance to tell what is realistic in you delivering the project. But if the deadline is set by the client, then what you would effectively do is to break it in the smallest bits that you can. So if the project you're required to build, okay, let's just make it as simple as building a website. If it's as simple as building a website, breaking it down to its minimum bit would help you relate well with the client in what you call now the deadline. Say, okay, within the first 2 days, a client will be able to log into the website. Within the next 3 days, the people will be able to see a home page, right? Within the next 1 week, this would happen within the next 1 week. Breaking it in those simple units would help the client not see the deadline as a do or die affair, or not see the deadline as sacrosanct. And so if you don't meet it, you're dead, right? So what the client would rather see is appreciating all the phases you have successfully completed one after the other. So if it would take you 3 days to get the homepage ready, and by the third day, the homepage is not completely ready, he would still appreciate the fact that he has seen the process through the first login through the next phase till this phase, and will be willing to give a little more time for that homepage to be ready. So deadlines is no longer seen as something that can make or mar a project, but to be seen as something that guides deliverables only.
All right.
That's what
It
I would
was
say.
nice. Yeah, thank you so much. We have one other question, but we can't take it now because of time. Thank you, Bruce, for showing up for
Thank
this
you.
session. Yeah, and to our audience, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you too. Yeah.
Yeah. Bye bye.